So, listen to this real quick.
Fundamentally motivated by envy, by hatred, by jealousy. The leftist looks at what is beautiful and what is good and what is natural and is filled with envy and hatred. The leftist looks at a perfect family with a perfect life and a perfect job and perfect kids, that goes to church every Sunday and is filled with a feeling of inadequacy and jealousy, and they covet, and they turn those emotions ultimately into a desire to subjugate, to oppress, and to inflict pain and suffering. It's not a coincidence that when you look at these violent Antifa demonstrations, you see any photograph of those who are assembled. To be blunt, not one of the people that is demonstrating looks like a normal person. Not one looks normal. They're all deformed in some way, in their appearance, in their dress, in their mannerism. Why is that? Why? You look at two photographs and you see a normal American street, you see an Antifa protest. Why do the people that are violently demonstrating, why is there not one normal-looking person among them? Every one of them, through the course of their life and their decisions, has scarred their body and their appearance in many different ways, to the point in which their outer appearance becomes a manifestation of their inner hatred. Trust your instincts. To all people across all civilizations, you know what normal is. You know what beautiful is. You know what good is. You know that families are right. You know that children are precious and beautiful and must be protected. You know that the criminal and the junkie and the predator is a threat to normal, healthy living. This is so much deeper than issues about taxation and regulation, although they're incredibly important. The leftists.
Okay, now what do you make of that? It's always something to watch out for when you have somebody deciding what normal is, because that's relative to each individual. A normal person might eat a certain food, and that's normal to them. Well, the next person doesn't eat that at all, so that's abnormal. Like if they go to their house, maybe they got lactose free milk or something like that, so that's abnormal. What's normal? How does he get? And look at him, and he's not even talking normal. I know I have an accent, but what is this weird? It's no wonder they're calling him Dr. Evil. What is that weird accent? I know I have one, but I'm not speaking through perched lips, and it's weird. Also, there's several things to point out here. He's talking about going to church every Sunday, and yet he is not a Christian. He only mentions that. You think of church, you think of Christianity, which, you could kind of refer to any religious building as sort of a church, as people refer to non-religious things as churches. It's weird that he didn't mention that. He only mentioned church. What that tells you is he's targeting a certain demographic, that he wouldn't even include his own demographic in there. That's a little strange. Of course, he's not going to mention Muslim. These idiots hate all of them. But he's going to make it abnormal if you're not one of those. The reason why he's also saying that, going to church every Sunday, is they've already been exposed to infiltrating these churches. They send a lot of these pastors on trips to Israel and get them sort of indoctrinated to that Zionist belief. So they make it abnormal if you don't go to church every Sunday for you to get indoctrinated by those indoctrinated people. That's what he's saying there. There's all sorts of propaganda in this. It's just crazy to me that he'd stand up there and look like, and I know what I look like, okay? But you don't see me pop up in front of everybody and say, these people don't look normal. But I'm sorry, I think I look more normal than that. What is that? It's like you took a bunch of Play-Doh and tried to sort of make a human being and failed. And he's always looked weird. He didn't look any better when he had hair. And he lost that quick. That's usually a sign of something going wrong. I mean, mine's thinning out a little bit. But I'm also not in great health. This guy would pitch himself as being in great health. Really? Where'd your hair go? That's not normal, by the way. People don't ask enough questions about that. But we're supposed to think that's sort of a normal way of speaking too. Normal people, you're supposed to. He's got a weird voice and a weird way of speaking. And that's something that's come up more recently. But also, he's pulling the little Hitler trick here. And that is to say something without saying it. To stoke something in people who are susceptible to certain things anyway, without actually saying it. So he's got plausible deniability. But not only that, the reason why Hitler did it, as evil as he was, it was a scary, intelligent maneuver. Because you can sort of, it's not easy to do, but you can get somebody woke up to the fact that, hey, this person has been misleading you. This person has hypnotized you and has led you astray. But if they put this in your mind that you came up with the idea on your own, which is what Hitler would do, those people, a lot of those people that followed him were certain that they arrived at the views that agreed with him on their own. He didn't plant that there. He did plant it there. Of course, they had their flaws too, or they wouldn't have believed it. They wouldn't have gone along with it. I'm not making them innocent. But that's the strongest thing that these cultist type people will do, is they got to get it in your brain first that it was your idea, that you arrived to it on your own. They didn't lead you there. You went there yourself. It's always like a cop-out too. Somebody can always stand back and be like, oh, well, this person fooled me. You know, they led me astray. And then you're sort of clear, sort of. You're not as guilty. This person fooled you. They led you astray. They tricked you. But you're more of an accomplice if they get you to think you did it on your own. They need you to feel dirty too. I can't believe it'd be people that would sit forward and look at this guy here talking about normal. I mean, also he's weak. He's extremely weak. I can tell you by looking at him. And he's not even that intelligent. If he gets his thoughts together, he can pull something kind of deceptive towards people who are already leaning that direction. But if something goes askew, and this actually got caught on video, if he messes up or if somebody asks something he's not expecting, something unexpected happens, he just locks up like a housefly. That's I mean, there's animals that don't do that. That's just crazy to me. But you have to look at what the racial thing is here. If you know numbers, the leftist, okay? In his case, when these people are saying this, these Trumpist people, these hard right people, when they say leftist, they mean pretty much everyone who's not a Republican, might even include some libertarians. So everybody, whether they're actually leftist or not, they're just not Republican. Now, if you look at any of the numbers, this is why I'm proud to be against both parties. Because if you're a person, like let's say you're voting Republican, and you think everybody that is not voting Republican, all the voters that are not voting Republican are idiots and this and that. Well, you can look at the demographic breakdown of who's voting that, and it could be like you're saying most black voters or most female voters or something like that, you're saying are idiots or this or that negative thing. And you could switch that around to where if you're a Democrat and you're saying, oh, well, these people are doing this, that's why it makes more sense to step back and be like, okay, you're all wrong, which they are. But if you look at this, you go through this, to me, as crazy as it sounds, I compare this to that song, awful Blake Shelton song, The Boys Round Here. When I was forced, you get, speaking of indoctrination, these awful radio stations in this area, especially over in Middle Tennessee, and it may have improved a little bit recently, I don't know, they would ram this pop country down your throat. I mean, you work a job and they play that stuff, and you'd hear it over and over and over again. I've heard, there's one song, I didn't even work a really long shift. It may have been a 10-hour shift. I heard one awful song 4 times. 4 times. So you get indoctrinated by it, but there's this awful Blake Shelton song that I was forced to digest repeatedly called The Boys Round Here. And as I'm sitting there focusing on it because I hate it so much, I wish I could do that more with things I love. I'm focusing on it, I'm like, this song is racist. Or at least, you could argue not necessarily racist, but it definitely excludes black people. You just listen to the song. And while I'm thinking that, I didn't know about the music video. The music video, it's like somebody got painfully aware of it. Listening to the song, it's like, this sounds like whites only. So what they did is they tried to ram sort of integration into the music video that won't hold up at all. You know, it's like Darius Rucker doing his country songs. It's like, who's he singing to? And now they'll, because they don't know who they're dealing with, these country fans, they'll put, beautiful young black lady in there in a cowboy hat, boots and stuff. And I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. But it's not real common. Believe me, I'm here. And it's like, this is... You know we have to find his person in this music video, the character he's pretending to be in this music video, because she's the only one. And that's an interesting thing, too. You don't see that. If you don't think modern country has got some serious, at least pandering towards... racism, you never see interracial relationships in the music videos. Why don't you see that? You don't, do you? Why's that happening? The hobbies and activities that they're a part of, generally it's only white people's involved in it. You got the Jason Aldean thing, which is no coincidence. Incidentally, Jason Aldean is the type that you would need to fight in a small town. He's not even from a small town. But he would be the type, him and his buddies would be the type that would be the Hellraisers. Now, this day and age, they might be in league with the police. So you really have to fight them because the police won't do anything with them. And believe me, I've been in a few of these small towns, this type of guy. And the police will not touch them. It's cartoonishly ridiculous. Meanwhile, somebody in there, shows up, it's dark or something like that, and you see them get target lock just instantly. You would think that it was made up. If somebody told you that, you'd be like, yeah, I understand things like that exist, but I think you might be exaggerating. That sounds a little bit on the nose. Sounds a little bit like overkill. But it happens. And this right here is what Miller is trying to conjure up. He's definitely trying to conjure that up because it benefits him. They're doing that a lot. And there's a few little agents that are running around that are trying to cause divisiveness among sort of the revolution. I need to do like a little short clip as far as that goes. But that happens a whole lot. They stir something up with race, and one of the big mistakes that happen is the mentality of the enemy of my enemy is my friend, which is stupid. That is very stupid. That is extremely naive. I mean, serial killers who try to kill each other in prison, is one of those your friend? That doesn't make any sense. So, people like this need to be completely ignored as far as what they're saying. Anybody that's listening to him, or like what Trump has done recently, his recent speech, the nonsense that he was spouting, if you're listening, if you know somebody who is watching that and just like absorbing it and believing it, that needs to be looked into. That person cannot take care of themselves. That person there's something short-circuiting up here at this point. And I'm not a person that's saying, oh, well, it's the Democrats, you need to listen to them. I'm not saying that. Again, that's that stupid enemy of my enemy is my friend nonsense. I don't even think they're enemies of each other, really. But you can do both, and you can focus on the one that you're dealing with right now first. You know? It's like if one person's broke into your house and another person is on their way to break into your house, you deal with the person who's already broke into your house first. They're already here. Simple logic. So, things like this need to be focused on. This little turd right here. How does he have this position? How did he get this position? That needs to be looked into. Anyway, got a little cat situation I got to deal with here. More later.